Welcome back to the game plan. Noah Mueller here. It's time to review a few things this episode. Tommy DeVito gets his job back as the starting quarterback of this team after Daniel Jones gets benched. Joe Douglas has just been fired from the New York Jets. Their general manager has been let go, as well as 3 NFL games I'll be reviewing. Let's get into it. So starting off here, Daniel Jones getting benched after the bye week. They said they'd reevaluate their quarterback situation. They did just that, and Tommy DeVito is back in at the number one spot at quarterback. And honestly, I don't think he's going to be the savior. I don't think he's going to win any, or he'll win like 2 games, if even. But the tank is on, and I'm happy to know that because I want a quarterback as well as many other Giants fans. Whole lot of options is here. And this just helps us even more benching Daniel Jones. I mean, he's not good, but Tommy DeVito is like practice squad tier kind of player. I know he had that run last year. I'm hoping he doesn't have another run like that this year so we get gypped out of a draft pick. But he's going to lock up at least a top 5 pick, and I'm happy about that. Next up, the New York Jets firing Joe Douglas. Honestly, they're blaming everyone but the man who's responsible for them playing this badly, and that's Aaron Rodgers. I mean, you bring in Rodgers with all this money at his age, and you expect him to bring you to the playoffs, go 13-4, something crazy like that, and he just plays horrible. I get his offensive line is playing good. Just seeing the last couple of games that the Jets have played, he's played terrible. He doesn't know where to throw the ball. He keeps force-feeding Devontae Adams and not giving any targets to Garrett Wilson. And, I mean, it's not going to work like that. Garrett Wilson right now is the better receiver on that team, and he needs to be fed more. And Rodgers, as well as a couple other people, have just completely blown this team up. And they have no future. They have no present as of right now. They're not making the playoffs. They're not going to make the playoffs. This team is lost, very, very lost, and firing a GM who's brought in all these good guys like Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, that's not going to help you. He brought in the cornerstones of the future of this franchise, and just firing him, that's not a good choice. We're going to take a break real quick. Right after the break, I'll go over the 3 NFL games, my upset for next week, and my players of the week. We'll be right back. Welcome back here on the game plan. As starting off, the first of our 3 NFL games we're reviewing today, the Buffalo Bills finally take down the Chiefs and their undefeated streak. Bills played a very great game against this Chiefs team and extends the Bills to 9-2, gives the Chiefs their first loss. The Bills are a team to compete with in the AFC. The stats go: Josh Allen, 262 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, 1 interception. Patrick Mahomes, 196 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Xavier Worthy, the rookie for the Chiefs, going for 4 receptions, 61 yards, and 1 touchdown. And then James Cook going for 27 total yards, but 2 total touchdowns. This game was a very good presentation of how good the Bills can truly be this season. I mean, they let go of a lot of defensive pieces like Tre'Davious White, Jordan Poyer over the last couple of years, and everyone would think it would affect them and that they'd start off really bad this year, but they have played the best out of, I'd say, any team in the AFC besides the Steelers. The Steelers have been playing amazing too, but the Buffalo Bills have been playing on a great level of football, especially against a team like the Chiefs who hadn't been put down yet for a loss, have been as confident as ever. Just completely took away that confidence. What I will say positively for Kansas City is that Xavier Worthy did play very well, and they did do a decent job of getting him the football, especially on that one drive where he was just force-fed, the drive that ended him getting a touchdown. Overall, he can be a huge weapon for this Chiefs team. They just got to use him more. They got to feed him more. Him, Hopkins, Isaiah Pacheco when he comes back, Travis Kelce, I mean, that core should be able to win you a Super Bowl if you throw it the right way and if you keep spreading the ball out evenly. Moving on to our second game of the day, the Indianapolis Colts. Anthony Richardson comes back as the starter after Joe Flacco is benched, and the Indianapolis Colts take down the New York Jets 28-27 on a game-winning Anthony Richardson rushing touchdown. Anthony Richardson came back. He looked great, honestly. I didn't really expect him this week, especially against what is in the past been considered a harsh Jets defense, to play this kind of game. But I mean, he played a very great game. The stats go: Anthony Richardson throwing for 272 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, and 2 rushing touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers going for 184 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns. Josh Downs, who looks like the main target on this team instead of Michael Pittman, going for 5 receptions, 84 yards, and a touchdown. And then Breece Hall going for 121 total yards and 2 total touchdowns. And just a great performance by Anthony Richardson and this Colts football team. The Colts aren't a bad all-around team whatsoever. They're just trying to find the quarterback in which they can keep moving with. And it looks like this is a good start for Anthony Richardson's campaign to come back as the full-time starter. I mean, he didn't throw any turnovers, which big shock to me considering his track record. And overall, just a great game for Anthony Richardson, great game for Josh Downs. The defense played pretty well, too. The rookie Latu had a couple of big plays. And overall, the Jets, like I said earlier, they're pretty lost right now. Breece Hall did play a very good game, finally. But they just look like a very lost football team. I don't know what's going to help them. Moving on to our last game of the day, it's going to be the LA Chargers. I got my upset wrong once again. I think I'm 0-4 at this point. But the Chargers take down the Bengals 34-27 on Sunday Night Football. Probably one of the better games of the day. Stats go: Joe Burrow, 356 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Justin Herbert, 297 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Ladd McConkey, the rookie for the Chargers, going for 6 receptions for 123 yards. And T. Higgins, coming back from injury, goes for 9 receptions, 148 yards, and a touchdown. Overall, Bengals went down really big early, and at that point, I was kind of just watching the game being like, oh, this is the Chargers game, like they played it very well. Bengals came back a little bit, tied it up, and then just let J.K. Dobbins run all over them. Chargers did play a very great game, I'll give them that, and the Bengals did have some push very near the end. But, I mean, this Chargers team does look very good. They look like a legitimate team that can compete in the playoffs this year. Can't believe I'm saying it about the Chargers, but I mean, Jim Harbaugh, Ladd McConkey, Justin Herbert, this defense, the guy like J.K. Dobbins, who they got off free agency, they're all just contributing to this team being as good as it is right now. And this team, honestly, I feel like they could do some shocking things in the playoffs. I'm not going to say anything too big, but with the Chiefs kind of falling down right now, you could see how that could play out. My top 3 players of the week this week are: number 3 is going to be Joe Mixon from the Monday Night Football game against the Cowboys, going for 109 rushing yards, 3 rushing touchdowns. Joe Mixon has just been a beast ever since coming back, or going to the Texans and starting his career there. I don't think there's been a game where he hasn't contributed a big factor into it. And this game was his game. 3 touchdowns, obviously dominated the ground game, and just a great game for the Texans and Joe Mixon. Number 2 is going to be Amon-Ra St. Brown from the Detroit Lions. He went for his best game of the season yet, 11 receptions, 161 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns. Overall, Lions dominated the Jaguars, were able to spread the ball around a whole lot, and Amon-Ra was just the guy who mainly got the football in that game. Just an amazing game for him, best of the year. And it really shows that Amon-Ra can still be the Amon-Ra he was last year and still contribute as much as he did last year. And the player of the week is a shocking one, but it's going to be Taysom Hill here. Taysom Hill had a major impact on how this Saints game went against the Cleveland Browns, where they won 35-14. Taysom Hill went for 138 rushing yards and 3 rushing touchdowns, including a 75-yard rushing touchdown near the end of the game. The Saints had this game very well, but it was because of him that they won. I mean, everyone's kind of upset they didn't give it to Kamara, but at the same time, Taysom Hill played as good as he did. Taysom Hill was 100% the player of the week, propelled the Saints team to a big victory. And, I mean, he's one of the core targets on that team now because it's Kamara, and then it's who else? Shaheed is hurt. Olave is hurt. It really just comes down to him at this point. My upset for next week, I don't know why I'm still doing these, but my upset for next week is going to be the Rams beating the Eagles. The Rams have looked great the past couple of weeks. Whether they've won or lost, they've been able to spread the ball around. Had Cooper Kupp back, have Puka Nacua back. They look like a complete football team on offense right now. It just depends how the defense plays. But I am picking the Rams to beat the Philadelphia Eagles by a score of 21-18 next week. I'll probably be wrong again, but who knows? That's what I'm picking. That'll be it for the game plan. Next episode will be NFL and NBA based, talking about each of the sports and what has happened in the past week. Thank you, and we'll see you next time on the game plan.